I've heard it can be tough to have a birthday close to the holidays. My dad's birthday is on December 23rd, and for nearly 60 years, he's made it special by bringing our family together for his homemade ice cream just 2 days before Christmas. On this episode of Funeral Potatoes and Wool Mittens, I sit down with my dad in South Dakota while he shares how he started the birthday tradition, how, as the youngest of the family, he would get his brothers to turn the crank on the ice cream maker at his party, why my sister thought the ice cream would maybe taste like slough water, and my dad's tip for making smooth and creamy ice cream every time. It is with great joy that I get to introduce you to my dad, who everyone knows as Ron Perry. He is where I get my love of photography. As a matter of fact, he used to have a darkroom in the basement where he would process his own film when we were growing up. He's an electrician by trade, and he thinks and tinkers like an engineer. And you can bet he has helped my sisters and I, and countless others, with their electrical projects, and lots of our emergencies, like when the furnace stops working in the middle of winter, or the air conditioner blows its last puff of cold air in the middle of record summer heat. My dad is also a wood craftsman, designing and making wood cutting boards, shelves, display cases for his grandkids' medals, and even a dollhouse for his great-granddaughter Josie. And he's restored a few vintage cars over the years. His most beloved is his Placer Gold 1971 Chevelle Ragtop. And he's currently working on a 1988 Monte Carlo SS with T-tops. I'm your host, Stacy Mergenthal. And now, let's go talk to my dad. Okay, we're started, Dad.
Okay.
We're sitting in your living room, still have the Christmas tree up. Margaret's with us. The dog is taking a nap. It's a perfect setting. We're going to talk about your tradition of making homemade ice cream today for your birthday. Are you ready for that?
Yep.
Well, your birthday's December 23rd. And so for anybody who has a December birthday or maybe just after Christmas, I imagine it's a little bit tricky because people sometimes talk about how they get the same amount of presents or anyone else because they won't get anything special for Christmas. But we do something in our family that started as a tradition in your family a long time ago. And I am really interested in how did it start? Why is it that ever since I can remember back being a kid, we would celebrate your birthday on December 23rd, having homemade ice cream that you would make. And then your side of the family, mostly, I mean, I think some of Mom's family would come, Grandpa and Grandma, but it was a big celebration for you and your birthday in December. So we're going to talk about that today and how we can have a special time in December, even if your birthday is 2 days before Christmas.
Well, I think part of it was that growing up, I didn't have much of a special for birthday because it was always combined with Christmas. Mm-hmm. And once I started getting a little older and kind of planning things myself, we started making ice cream, homemade ice cream on my birthday and having the family over.
And so how far does this go back? Like I said, I can remember since I was a kid, and I'm 50 years old. Yeah,
it probably started in the mid to late 60s that we started doing it, I guess.
Okay, so when you were a kid at home, let's go back a little bit just to kind of think about this. You when you were a kid at home, you guys lived on a farm and you farmed. Just a little, was it north of Bruce, South Dakota?
Yeah, north and east of Bruce, South Dakota.
Okay. So tell me about your family a little bit so that people know about how many brothers and sisters you have.
Okay. I had six brothers. So there were seven of us boys, and then there was three girls, although two of them had passed away as infants. So, but it was a large family. I was the youngest, and most of the rest of the family had already left home by the time I was old enough to go to school and growing up and that.
Oh, yeah. So I hadn't really thought about that. I know there's an age difference with you being the baby. And then the oldest was Lyle, right?
Dale.
Dale.
No.
Mervin.
Mervin,
Mervin.
yeah. Sorry.
We'll figure it out. So Mervin was the oldest.
Yep.
And so it wasn't like you were at home as a little kid with all these brothers and sisters celebrating this big birthday either. Yeah.
No, they weren't. They weren't usually around.
And so then your dad and your mom. Now,
My mom had passed away when I was 10, and so it wasn't. Had a stepmom then in the 60s, I guess, that Dad remarried, and yeah.
so homemade ice cream. Did you do homemade ice cream when you were younger at the farm?
Occasionally in the later years, when I was 15, 16, I guess, we did it once or twice. Never really got started until I was out and had my own family.
Okay. But we were just talking before we started here about how you probably used you had cows, you had chickens.
When I grew up on the farm at home, we milked cows and we had cream. That was readily available, so that's the main ingredient in the ice cream, of course.
Ice cream, yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, so then let's talk about from when I can remember, you would make homemade ice cream on your birthday.
Yep.
The really fun thing is that we always knew it's December 23rd, Dad's birthday. We're having a huge, lots of family come over. Even your brothers from Chicago, Wayne would come, and Mervin from Tennessee, right?
I don't know if he was ever here at Christmas.
Did he not?
Wayne quite often came out for Christmas, but he was the only one really that came a lot at Christmas.
Oh, okay. We always looked forward to seeing Wayne and Bev, and if Lisa and Steve and the boys came. But okay, so why do I remember that there was this thing in the basement making ice cream?
Okay, to start out with, when the old style ice cream freezer were hand crank, of course, you had to crank and crank and crank, and when you're making ice cream, you put ice in around the cylinder with the ice cream, with the mixture in it, and so it transfers the cold to the ice cream. Well, as that melts, the water runs out. So what you want to do is do it at a drain location where the water can run away. So we would do it in the basement where there was a floor drain, and then let the water run down the drain.
And
it being hand crank, a guy could crank and you get tired. So you usually did it. You had somebody else there, and you'd change off cranking the ice cream maker to keep it going.
did us girls, me and my sisters help you at all? Did we help crank
it wasn't something that the kids usually did, because it was a little bit of hard work to it.
Mm-hmm. And did you do it? Did you make the ice cream the day of your birthday, or was it?
We generally made the ice cream, when the people came to the party, and that was, we would be ready and we'd go make ice cream.
And so those were the people that were helping hand crank the ice cream. So please come over and help me make ice cream for my birthday.
Yeah.
Now I get it. Okay, and so what was we talked a minute ago about before we started recording, but you were talking about the salt and the ice.
Okay, yeah.
The ice from the slough?
Yeah, in the early years, what we would do is we'd go out to a creek and chop the ice out of a pond and use that for the ice to freeze the ice cream. And of course, you use ice and salt, and my daughter wasn't sure she liked the ice cream because she thought all that yucky ice and salt was going into the ice cream.
And so that was my older sister Heidi, and that is the first time I've ever heard that, and I can't wait for her to hear this because it's so funny. Because so that slough ice and the salt is on the outside, like in a drum.
Yes.
cooling off.
It's in a, yeah.
Your canister is in the middle of that.
Yep.
And the ice cream is obviously not touching the slough ice and the salt. Okay. So they're hand cranking it in the basement. What recipe are you using?
The main ingredient, of course, is cream. The recipe for the ice cream is eggs, sugar, cream, and then vanilla, and then you have to add whole milk to fill the canister up.
And so all that goes in there.
Yeah.
You put everything in, and then the churning of it and the ice is what makes this.
You want to cook the mix beforehand because of the eggs. Cook the eggs. Now in the later years now, I've gone to using the egg beaters, and I still cook the mix before I freeze it.
You cook everything before you
Yes.
freeze it. Oh, okay. See, I've never made homemade ice cream before. I know people nowadays have the modern ice cream makers that sit on their counter. I'm pretty sure Jason's sister Lindsay has one of those where you just put in the ingredients, it sits on the counter, and the next thing you know, you have ice cream.
Uh-huh.
I don't know the first thing about it because I've only ever enjoyed yours and not made any at home. So all those things cook before. How long does it take before the ice cream's ready? Well, you're not using the hand crank one anymore.
No. The electric freezer, it takes a good hour.
Okay.
To bring it down to freezing. I found that I could put it in the refrigerator and cool it down at least that much. I usually cook it the day before and then cool it back down in the refrigerator to bring it down to that temperature, so you have less temperature to drop it.
Okay. And so the ice cream maker, we were talking about the ice cream maker that you used, and that was Grandpa Elroy's.
Yeah, in the original years, yeah. Now, that was a hand crank one. Now I have a electric one that...
Sure. Because we won't come over and help you hand crank it before your party. You have the ice cream ready before we get here now.
Yeah.
But okay, so then you got a different maker, and what flavors are you only ever doing vanilla? Because you just made something new this year.
Yes, I made some Rocky Road ice cream this year, which was a new adventure, but it turned out pretty good.
Okay.
So,
is that the first time you've ever done other than vanilla?
I made some chocolate a few years ago, just plain chocolate ice cream. That worked out okay. I wasn't real impressed with it, but
okay. And so what made you go, I'm going to make Rocky Road this year?
Oh, we found a recipe in a magazine that showed up that I thought, hey, that would be something neat to try.
Okay. And you had it ready for us to have on December 23rd this year.
I had tried it once a couple of weeks ahead of time, made a small sample batch.
Okay.
So.
And it was good, so you made it. And then, of course, this year, 2022, I keep saying this year, we're already in 2023, but there was a snowstorm, a blizzard, no travel advised, roads were closed, and we couldn't come out here. So we still haven't tried it, even though I think we're still going to try to get together, but you might have already eaten all the ice cream.
No,
Margaret is over there shaking her head. No, we haven't eaten it yet. No. So we still need to get together. All right. So I was thinking what the succession plan is of the ice cream making, because one of us girls probably are going to want to learn how to do the ice cream, make the ice cream.
I think that would be a good idea.
So that someday down the road, other generations can enjoy the tradition and the recipe for the ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we should think about that.
Yep. Whenever you want me to show you how.
Maybe not the same day that you're showing us how you're making these really cool cutting boards out of wood that everybody is. Even made Callie cry this year because you gave her one. Yeah. They're beautiful. All right, well, let's see. Do you make the ice cream any other time of year, or is this pretty much you're doing it in December?
That's pretty much the only time we make ice cream is that they've been ahead of my birthday.
Okay.
Some people make it during the summer, during maybe around 4th of July, but we've never gotten into that tradition.
Mm-hmm. Well, and our family doesn't really get together on the 4th of July either, so it's nice when you have people that you're sharing it with too, I suppose.
Yep.
Yeah. And so do you have any tricks or, is there, for somebody first time making their ice cream, does it just go pretty smoothly, or do you have to make it smooth and creamy secrets?
Well, part of the smooth and creamy is why I heat it, and you have to heat it to, was it 170 degrees?
Check your notes there.
Yeah, I'm looking at my notes. 175.
Oh, okay.
You heat it to 175. That's supposed to make it more creamy, more smooth and creamy.
Well, so for people who are making ice cream and they haven't done that, now give that a try and let us know.
To heat it, you don't want to put it right on the stove. You want to use it like a double boiler.
Okay.
And what I do is I use two pots and put them together and like stock pots, and put the ice cream in the smaller one and water in the bigger one on the bottom, and then heat the mix up to the 175 degrees.
Okay. I've also seen, I have a double boiler, but I've seen people put a pot and then they take like a stainless steel bowl.
Yeah,
that's
most
bigger that can fit
most
over the
typical
top.
double boilers aren't large enough to do the total of the mix.
Oh, okay.
You got about a gallon and a half of mix there.
Yep, that wouldn't fit in mine. Okay. Well, that's a good tip then too. Can you over churn it? What happens if you?
Most when you're churning it in the electric freezer like I have now, it's when it gets to the point where it's frozen stiff enough, the mixer usually stops.
Oh, okay.
So you don't. In the older days, in the hand crank freezers, you kind of had to judge. It would get to the point where it was hard to turn, and you knew that it was time to stop and take it out.
So you'd almost go by sound probably back then, or
Feel.
The hand okay, feel.
Yeah, feel.
Okay. So tell me about Dale's using the. He did the hand crank, but then he started using a drill.
In the early years, back before we started doing it for my birthday, my older brother, of course, he was an engineer, and he got the bright idea that he took an electric drill and took the handle off the hand crank one and put an electric drill on there. But it didn't work very well. It turned the thing too fast, and I think it. As I understood, I don't remember it, but as I understood it, it created butter out of the mixture.
Not the outcome you're looking for, then.
No, not the outcome you want.
No. Well, and I should mention, Dale, so he was an engineer, you're an electrician, Bob's an electrician, Lauren's an electrician. I mean, you and your brothers are all very much that engineering mind set and electricians. So, if anybody's got a ice cream maker going so fast it's splattering on the wall, it would be you guys. So what does it mean to you that we still do this? I mean, Callie and Heidi, or my sisters, we always know that it's Dad's birthday and this is what we do. And we love that you still do host it. It gets us together, and it's a busy time of year, but we like that we make the time to do it. What does it mean to you that we still have that tradition?
I much appreciate that you get together. That's one of the few times it seems like we all get together for any length of time. Mm-hmm. So.
And Bob and Lola usually make it. Lauren and
Bob
Joyce.
Bob and Lola. Lauren.
Dallas has come.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else kind of. Merle sometimes.
Merle from time to time when he can make it, yeah.
Yeah. And our kids, if they can, now they're a little bit more spread out and things.
Yeah, some of the grandkids come too.
Yeah. Yeah, so we enjoy it and look forward to it. So it's usually on our calendars, whether you invite us or not, we probably would show up.
Yep.
And expect ice cream.
Yep.
And I know this year Margaret was going to make, her plan was to do the crazy cake or depression cake. People call it different things, but I had posted a recipe earlier this year that I used some alcohol in that cake in place of the water. And we tried that when we were at Heidi's once. You guys seemed to like it. So she texted me one day, Margaret did, you guys were in Sioux Falls, and she was looking for booze.
Yep.
And she found it. So
she found it. She made the cake.
Again, we didn't get to enjoy it, but okay.
Yeah,
we will.
We enjoyed it.
That's good. That's good. Well, is there anything else? I'm trying to think if there's anything else that, well, I guess when I was coming over here, I was thinking about the availability of ice cream in general back in those days. Because right now, I mean, I'm driving by a Dairy Queen on the way here, and then I'm thinking, you could get ice cream anywhere, anytime you wanted to.
Now you can, yeah. It wasn't quite so readily available back in the early 60s and such, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So ice cream was really special. Yeah, a treat. And even growing up when we had it, I don't know. I guess we did have some pails of store-bought ice cream in the freezer sometime. I only know that because I remember wearing a bucket on my head in a tornado in the basement, and so we had to have had ice cream. But, yeah. Well, I'm glad that this is a tradition that keeps going, and yes, it does bring us together, and it's good to see your side of the family that time of year also, because we don't always get to see them as families get bigger, and we have children of our own, and spread out. So I appreciate too coming together and being able to see you and spend time at your house. And
good.
It's fun today to be here too, just to pack up the microphones and come in and learn the story about the ice cream. So is there anything else that you want to share?
Can't think of anything.
We'll share this ice cream recipe if it's okay with you. We'll share it on my blog. And
yeah, that's kind of why I got it out available here.
Okay. Said if you want to try the one that he's been using for years. And now, so you don't just adjust this one to make something like the Rocky Road. That was a completely separate.
That was a completely different recipe that I found in a magazine, or Margaret found in a magazine.
Okay. Same with chocolate? It's a totally separate.
No, I forget where I got the recipe for that, but it's basically the same as the vanilla, except you use chocolate milk to make the. Oh. Yeah.
I was wondering if it was cocoa or something, but nope. That makes sense. Chocolate milk.
So I use chocolate milk to make the chocolate ice cream.
Mm. That must be why.
The Rocky Road, you do use cocoa, yeah.
Okay. Must be why Sagen likes the chocolate. I feel like he was here once when we had chocolate. He loves chocolate milk.
He may have been. I can't remember. It was a few years ago, but
yeah. So. Well, hopefully I can have you dig up some pictures too that we can share. I don't know if you have a picture of when we were cranking it down in the basement back at 1124 2nd Street.
I can't remember that we do, no.
Yeah.
If I find one, I'll have to get it for you.
Right. It would be fun. So, well, thanks, Dad, for talking with me today and hashing out this whole ice cream thing. And I think my biggest takeaway is the slough ice. I can't wait to talk to Heidi about the ice from the slough. So, okay. Well, thanks. My dad's annual birthday tradition isn't as large as it was when I was growing up. I'm guessing we had at least 50 people at the house back then, plus my mom made party food like barbecue sandwiches and other goodies. It is still a fun way to celebrate his birthday just 2 days before Christmas. So perhaps you know someone special that would enjoy starting a tradition like this as well. Out of the 10 Perry siblings, my dad and his brothers Lauren and Bob are the only 3 still here with us. When I stopped recording this episode with my dad, we enjoyed a bowl of his homemade Rocky Road ice cream, and I have to say, I'm hoping he makes it every year. But I am a chocolate person, and those marshmallows were just the perfect amount of squishy. Dad and Margaret both stressed how important it is to use real cream and whole milk. And my dad nostalgically commented that he would really like to get the real cream like they used to on the old family farm. So if you have any connections. Fear No Potatoes and Wilmittens is a Random Sweets podcast. Dad's vanilla ice cream and the Rocky Road recipe are on randomsweets.com, which I've linked for you in the show notes. Or just go to the website anytime and search homemade ice cream. It was a real treat for me to visit with my dad and to share his story about this family tradition that he started back in the 1960s. And I know you have millions of options for which podcasts and episodes you listen to, so thank you for choosing My Dad and Me today. Sweet wishes.